Hey gamers, I am the Bella Gamer, and I'm sorry this video is late. There's been a lot of things happening, especially earlier this week. I was working a lot, and I was coming off of a long weekend, so I just didn't get enough time to record things ahead of time, and so on and so forth. And then my computer's been having a lot of trouble. It might even come to the point where I might not be able to continue recording videos as my computer gets bad enough. It's something I'm trying to fix. Hopefully I can. Fingers crossed. Anyway, on to the topic of today's video. Today's video is playstyles. How to identify a playstyle, how to work with a playstyle, and how to use a playstyle if you're a player and you can identify your own playstyle. I also need to talk a lot slower. I just get really chatty and really high-speed supersonic talking when I'm trying to do something really hard. When I'm too focused. Calm down. Anyway, first, I wanted to go into the different types of playstyles, or I should start first with what is a playstyle. A playstyle is the way a player the attitude of player or a GM comes into the game, and how they look and how they perceive their perceptions and their thoughts on what a game is supposed to be like or how they go about it. There's a lot of different types, and some people are just a mix of a couple different types. But I have a pretty consistent list of a lot of the ones I've noticed and a lot of the ones that are very common. So first I want to talk about fan fiction gamers. These are the gamers who have the interest in making very interesting or very read a fan fiction and it's just like this implausible event that happens. That's kind of how a fan fiction player plays. They're just like, oh, and my character is suddenly there, or my character pops in through the roof or whatever. So it's just, they're people who don't take the game from a very game standpoint. They take it as a story, and then they put things in the story that they find entertaining. These are also people who are more likely to want interpersonal relationships, or they want to know important people in the world. They want to know the king. They want to know the queen. The next is the gamer type. The gamer is probably one of the more common ones because gamers play tabletop games more often than not. Gamers are more likely to look at a game, approach it systematically. They know how to tweak the stats to be perfect, and then they play their character. They get excited about the idea of characters, like how the stats work. But when it comes to the character gameplay, sometimes they just don't know how to role play the character. And then they got a cool character, they just don't know how to implement it well, and that's a very common trait amongst gamers. But gamers are really good about making interesting characters stat-wise, and they're not afraid to experiment with different types of builds. They can go outside of their typical type of character. Next is newbies. Newbies are easy to identify, and not many people stay a newbie that long. But newbies are definitely a type of gamer, because they just don't do this kind of game a lot. And one of the biggest things is you need to tell them the rules. They don't know what to do. They're often afraid to ask questions, or sometimes ask too many questions, but more often they don't ask enough questions. And so they're people you have to kind of work with in order to make the game run. Joker is the next one. And these are people who are honestly just there to do funny shit and to sometimes just make the game. They troll the game itself because they just do random things. They're the character who just there's a whole pack of these dino things down in a canyon, and it's like, I shout, I echo my voice and rile them up, even though it causes grief for the group. So they're hard to deal with. They're not necessarily always negative types of players, but they're the kind of people who look to get entertainment out of any kind of situation. And so if you're trying to make a scene serious, these people are the ones you gotta watch out for. The weeaboo is the one I affectionately call the anime lovers. They have the characters who really they're the kind of characters who just I gotta keep fighting. Or they're the kind of characters who, a woman is in trouble, save her. The hero-esque kind of characters. They're the kind of characters who go in, want to be the hero, and they feel like they can do some epic shit. Or when they explain what their character does, they go into this massive amount of detail about how they really did it. And so it's a very animated and it's a very cinematic type of playstyle and character. So you gotta watch out because sometimes they might throw some things in that sound cool, but they don't really work with the game. And but you gotta not bog them down. And I'm gonna go into how to work with the playstyles later. Next is the professional. The professional is the person who goes in. They got all their paperwork ready. They're ready to play. They know how to play. They know how to role play. They go into the game and they're just very straightforward. But these people also have a big weakness. They don't like lollygagging, or they don't like when people don't take the game seriously. So even though they're really good players as far as RPGs are concerned, they're not necessarily the best in group dynamics when you have people who aren't also professional gamers. And last but not least is the Wallflower, and the Wallflower is the player who joins the game as kind of a cool character, and then they don't do a lot for most scenes. They sit in the back most scenes. They have their thing. They try to do their own stuff. They're also kind of characters who go off and do their own lone wolf kind of stuff. Wallflower kind of goes into lone wolf in a little way. They're kind of two different play styles, but they're the same at the same time. Because Wallflower characters don't do a lot. They don't have good group dynamics. And then they try and go and do something else. They have their own idea, and they go and do it despite what the group is doing. So you gotta rein them in. So identifying what type of gamer you, or what type of play style you have, you gotta play a game. You gotta play a game, and you gotta ask yourself, did I participate with the group? What was I doing? If you don't know what kind of play style you are, you just gotta look for some of the key identifiers, and hopefully this video will help you identify what kind of gamer you are, because then this can help you how you play, and this can help your GMs, and you want to let them know, like, hey, I kind of play in this way. So I'll just give some brief characteristics of all of them. Fan fiction, all about the story, don't really care about game mechanics. They really want to just make an interesting story, and these kind of players don't mind interrupting other character scenes just to make sure their character gets in. There are also people who like to offer, like, what if someone does this, or what if someone does that, They want to, like, hint to the GM, like, hey, GM, try throwing some extra stuff in. For gamers, look at stats. They're very number heavy. They are the first ones to identify, like, someone's like, oh man, what was that spell? And they're like, I know that spell, it was this one, and it costs this much mana. So, that's an easy one. Next is the newbie. Newbie's easy. They first started playing. They ask a lot of questions, or they don't ask enough questions. They just, about very simple things. If you're asking these kind of questions, you're a newbie type player. It's fine. We all grow out of it. The next is the Joker. If you're a Joker, you often won't know that you're a Joker. That's just kind of the mindset. You want to have fun, and you do all these super silly things, but you don't take other players into account. And sometimes what they can do can be on the kind of trollish, griefy side. So watch it. If you're a Joker type gamer, have fun, but don't do it at the expense of other players. Don't slow a game down, and don't make it so that your character is intentionally making things harder, unless there's a really good reason, and there very rarely is. Next is the weeaboo. Weeaboos are harder to identify. They're the kind of characters who are very heroic. They're very inward, go in, trying to do the right thing, try to intercept in certain things. They're always like stand up front kind of characters. They always like, I know what I need to do. I go and do this, or I punch them in the face. They don't like discuss with anyone. They just do it, and sometimes it can get them in trouble. Not a bad gaming style, but sometimes things won't go your way. So don't be hard on an image you have in your head of how the scene should go. The professional, also another easy one. They're kind of the gamer in the way that they know all the stats and all the numbers and everything like that. But professionals are picky. So if they're getting constantly annoyed by someone who's not professional, got a professional on your hand. Next is the Wallflower, another really easy one. They don't participate in a lot of scenes. Their characters don't talk a lot. They just have very bland personality type characters. And it's not necessarily that they're bad characters, but if a character doesn't act in scenes, then what's the point of the character being there, somewhat? So, now that we've identified some of the characters, we want to get into classes and playstyles. So certain classes work really well for certain playstyles, and here's just some tips from me to you guys on some classes or class types or archetypes that will fit your playstyle. First, we go with, again, the fanfiction. Fanfiction people are stat heavy or sorcerer-esque. They have powers, but they don't probably want a lot of management. They can just do stuff without having to go into a lot of numbers and recording stuff. So they're the people with the easiest of way to use special abilities, or they just have these absurd like high stats where they're just like, oh, lockpicking done, I'm good. Or like they charisma type characters especially. You want to stick with characters that give you freedom and not heavy number wise. So don't pick warriors who need to worry about armor stats, combat stats. Don't pick wizards who need to worry about spell numbers of spells per day or mana or anything like that. Pick like a psychic or like a sorcerer. They have more free spells to use and they're more able to, be flexible in scenes, because that's what's important to fanfiction. Next is the gamer. Gamers can play pretty much any character type. There's no specific way other than your personal gaming style. So identify your gaming style, identify the type of games you like, and then pick a class based on that, because that's where you're going to have the most fun. Next is the newbie. Newbie should always pick very general, easy characters. Base warriors are pretty good. Base of a lot of classes, don't try to do anything tricky. Just pick something that's simple, and don't try to get any like super number heavy, and don't try to get any super tricky. Just ask the GM what should I play, and they'll usually give you like a nice easy class to play. Also, my audio might be a little slow, so I apologize. Or my video, sorry, not my audio. Okay, so next is the Joker. Jokers are wizards or heavy magic type characters. They're the characters who can get away with shit, essentially. They can be psychics, they can be wizards, but they just have to be a class that can just fuck with people, and they can do it really easily, and they can even do it without anyone knowing. That's just the type of players Jokers are. If you're a Joker, there you go. You just pick a mage, wizard, psychic, someone who can just mess with people. Or manipulate people. That's also another good one. Manipulating stats are really good for Jokers because they really enjoy manipulating people. Weeaboo is very likely the high skill warrior types, or the highest skill like warrior mage types. Characters who can essentially do a lot of damage. Characters who can finish a fight. Characters who have finishing blows. Characters who have one-hit kills. Any character who can just finish a fight easily or with the proper setup, these are perfect for weeaboos, because then when they get that setup, they feel like they just had an epic moment in an anime. Professionals can play any character. They have their own playstyle, that's fine. Professionals will just pick whatever kind of character. Sometimes a professional might want to pick a healer, just because then you can keep the group alive and you can still kind of do some stuff on the side. You're also one of the most important roles in a game, so they can feel even better about themselves. And wallflowers, that's a hard one. Assassins are really good, because then you don't need to be a talkative character. You just do stuff in the dark, and you have the ability to go off on your own and kind of have that survival with it. So characters with good stealth abilities, characters with ranged attacks like archers are really good for wallflower type characters. Now, when you're a GM and you're trying to structure around your players and your game styles, you just take into fact what your ratios are of the kind of characters. Okay, so fanfiction, newbies, Jokers, and wallflower type characters are really good for very story heavy games, because they aren't necessarily as savvy with the stats as some other people might be. And so it's better to utilize storytelling elements and making these players have a better time, rather than focusing on like a balanced campaign. Just make it so that they can have their times to shine, but storytelling is the most important to these groups. All right, and the gamer, Joker, and professional are also hardcore gamers. Give them a very intrigue-based game or combat-based game so that they can utilize the stats that they know how they work. So if you have, some professionals and like a gamer, intrigue and combat, and there you go. If you have a Joker thrown in the mix, give him some story stuff to fuck around with, but make sure that you can give the Jokers time to utilize some of their extra stuff in combat too, to make them feel better about, helping with a fight as well. So between those two types of game styles, you want to mix and match just based on the types of gamers you have. Between those two groups, that's the most general. You gotta pick and choose how you want to make the game based on your individual players and what they like. If you have a majority group that likes storytelling, focus on storytelling. If they like combat, focus combat. It doesn't matter which group they are. If that's what they want, that's what they want. So, now rewarding playstyles is really important as well, because you want to make sure that you validate players, and players are best validated when they're doing something that is in their nature. So, for instance, if you're rewarding a fan fiction character, you let them do something. You're just like, yeah, pop into the scene, go ahead, I don't care. And they'll pop in and they'll be like, man, that was so awesome how I popped in there. And you're like, yeah, it is. So let them do something for once, and so it will make them feel better. Gamers are better rewarded with items or things that improve their characters. Gamers are very progression orientated, so anything you can do to improve that character is better for gamer based players. Newbies are always best rewarded with just compliments. Just be like, man, you did a good job there. You did that well. Good job. Or, man, that was a hard roll. I made it because, gosh, you guys wouldn't have made it without it. Jokers, they're kind of like fanfiction. Let them do whatever. And I apologize if I always feel kind of like, with Jokers. Jokers just annoy me the most because they're the most likely to troll and everything like that. But if you want to reward a Joker, reward them in a way that doesn't validate griefing. So punish them when they make the game harder or they make the game worse for other players. But if they do something Joker-esque that improves the game or can make people laugh or can advance the story, reward those. Punish the others. It's kind of like a dog. You give them a treat when they do something right. You hit them with newspaper when they do something wrong. You have to do this with them. You got to train your Jokers because otherwise they get out of hand. Weeaboos are always best rewarded when you just say, okay, do something epic in this scene. I don't care what it is, just do something epic. They take into fact what their character can do. They try to stick to character, and then they'll do something usually appropriate for the scene. So just be like, you, do something epic right now. And that's the best way to reward a weeaboo. Professionals are best rewarded with more items or with giving them the opportunity to discover stuff. Like, make it seem secret, but not super secret that the players can't notice it. And when a professional finds it, they feel so validated because, like, I'm so good at this game. I found something secret, or I did something cool. So, and you might want to guide them in that direction as well. And wallflowers are hard. They're hard to reward because sometimes it's a phase and sometimes it's just a particular play style. So sometimes just be like, just make sure that you mention them and things they did, Like when you're telling people about the story or at the end of the campaign, make sure you highlight some of the things Wallflowers did do. It might motivate them to come out and do more stuff after the fact. So, after that, otherwise playstyles are pretty easy. All players have playstyles. It's best as a GM to identify them. It's best as a player to identify your own playstyle, and then learn to work together. Learn how certain group dynamics work. And I could go in more into this. If you guys have questions, please comment below. I'll be more than happy. For instance, Jokers and Wallflowers are more lone wolves. They do things by themselves, while fanfiction always have to be in a group and with other players at all the times. So it's best to identify those trends and then set up events that happen around those kind of trends. Alright gamers, so ciao for now. Good luck with your gaming style, and I hope it works out for you. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up so I know that you guys keep wanting to listen to more table talk, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.